Won a 5-star district, courtesy of Felix Feelgood. Now, I know I finished my opponents with some fire, but you know who really got some fire? Yeah, hashtag truth. And that's what you're going to watch right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hashtag Truth. Tonight we have the one, the only Brett West. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, brother. How you doing tonight?
I am doing great. Let me make a quick announcement right away. Thank you, everybody, for all the well wishes and concerns. Yesterday, I did a video with my daughter with the Fozzie Bear. Thank you, everybody, for watching that post and liking it. It was sort of a last-minute thing. About 5 minutes after that, it felt like a mule kicked my stomach, and I got sicker than the dog. But what was ironic about that was the guy I was going to have on that night, Crash the Milkman. He went to get a tooth pulled yesterday, and it ended up being tooth surgery, so we wouldn't have had the show anyway. So we were both down and out. I've got him rescheduled for next Tuesday or Wednesday. Watch out for that show. Brett, how are you doing, man? Tell us who you are and how you got into the business, man.
Well, try to make a long story short. I met a buddy of mine, Shelby Williams. He used to go by Maniac Mike Mondo on the indie scene, and we worked at the prison together, and we were just talking, and we just both had this mutual love for wrestling. He was like, "Well, I wrestle," and I was like, "Nah, you're bullshitting me." And he's like, "Well, come on down. I'll let you see." And then from there, I just started training. It took me about a year before I had my first match, and just kept going from there.
Oh, man. So when did you know, when in your life did you know? A lot of people say they were watching TV or something and wrestling came on. When did you know that's what I want to do?
Uh, I I remember my first time watching wrestling. I was like 3 years old with my great grandmother, but that wasn't it. It was probably watching like WCW because my mom wouldn't let me watch WWF until like 1998. So it was probably watching Rey Mysterio Dean Malenko match because I'm a huge Dean Malenko fan. So it was
The man
watching
of a
him.
thousand holds, man. That you definitely can't go wrong watching Dean Malenko. I used to love watch. A lot of people didn't like Dean Malenko because he wasn't a high flyer. He wasn't, one of those big spectacular guys. But when he came in, he wrestled. He literally gave you a wrestling match. And
Yeah,
if you're a wrestling fan, you got to love that.
super uncharismatic, but
Right? Totally. He always had the same, like, I'm going to put my fist through your face look the whole time.
yeah.
Michael says, glad you're feeling better. Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate it. Trayton Bigelow said, hey.
Hey, that's my stepson.
Hey, there you go.
Not
All
really.
right. Keeping it in the family. I love it. Wrestling, keeping it in the family. That's what I'm talking about. So you watched WCW. At what point did you start watching both WWE and WCW?
It was probably the height of Stone Cold. I didn't watch the promo, you know, in live action that he gave at King of the Ring, but it was probably like somewhere circa 1998, late 98 into early 99 when he started getting real big.
So you got there right in time for the Monday Night Wars, basically.
Yeah.
What a good time, man. Arthur Snelson, what's up, man? Brandon Ledford, thank you for. I'm sorry, man. I don't know. I guess I started something. Wesley Ledford, he said, "Who? This is Brett West. Wesley, you know who he is. Stop the drama, man."
It's all right.
So how long have you been in the wrestling business, brother? Where'd you get your start?
Got my start. It was at Milestone, which, as far as I know, they've had a couple shows here and there, but they don't really run frequently. So my first real big opportunity came from Mike Levy at ACCW.
I went up to one of their shows a couple weeks ago, man. I loved it. It was a great show, great bunch of people, man. I'm definitely gonna go back. It was at the Hidden Night Center. Really, really awesome.
Thank you. We always have a loyal fan base, and you're like here and there. You see a lot of regulars come in, even if they've not been there for a while. You'll still see some of the same faces. And
I love the Hidden Night Center, man. I don't think it's too small. I don't think it's too big. It's air conditioned. Like I said in my review for it, it's like you're right on top of the ring, no matter where you're sitting in that building. Wherever they have chairs, man, you're basically, you look like you're right on top of the ring. It's a great place to wrestle.
For sure.
So who do you remember who your very first wrestling match was?
Easy. It was the guy who I told you got me into it. Mondo. It was supposed to, we were going to have this big elaborate match, but for some reason it didn't work out. So I ended up having to wrestle under a hood as the Masked Meanie, and I got squashed in the matter of like 4 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it awesome to come to a show, you want to be in the show, you're just starting off in wrestling, you're like, man, I can't wait. All right, kid, here's a mask, here's a big blue costume or whatever they gave you or told you to be in, and you're going to go out there and you're going to get beaten about less than 5 minutes. But it'll be a good match.
They just gave me the hood. That's all they did. They just gave me a hood and said, hey, dude, go and get squashed. And he let me get in a couple shots, and for the most part, that was it. 1, 2, 3, into that match. So,
Michael Butler, hashtag Indie Wrestling's best, Brett West. Hey, there you go. I like that. That's kind of catchy.
Well, that's the
Commissioner Brew. There you go. Commissioner Brew said, "What's up,
Brew? What's up, dude?" For sure.
Caleb Crocker, yeah, he saw Kenny Omega in the back. One of the Ring Brothers. What's up, Caleb? Dope Kenny Omega in the back. Is that an oil painting? It looks like an oil painting.
That's, I'll be honest with you. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a certified, authenticated, signed picture of him, whether it be painted or drawn or whatever. So.
Oh wow, that's nice, man. Yeah. So are you a fan of Kenny? I mean, that'd be a stupid question, seeing how it's behind you during an interview. I mean,
I got into him right when the cleaner hit, but I didn't really watch a whole lot of the cleaner. It went from like always everything like that. I was like, look, like he's having a bunch of a little bit more seed.
Right? He's definitely one of the best in the business, man. A lot of people like making fun of him. I listen to Jim Cornette all the time, and Jim Cornette, he calls him Kenny Olivier. He makes a lot of fun of him, but man, some of the wrestling matches in New Japan, he was the man in New Japan. And I just loved watching him, man. If you watch somebody like that and buckle up your career to do something like him and just keep going, man, the sky's the limit. So that's a really good guy to be to have, especially a signed autograph from, man. That is awesome. With AEW getting hot, that picture back there is probably going to be worth a lot more money in the future. Here is your biggest fan, brother. When will we see a heavyweight title on Brett West? Uh-oh. I think we're getting you glitched out there, brother. Let's wait a second or two and see if you get cleared out. And can answer the question. I think we might be losing you.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you just fine. The audio is glitching.
It's not.
Yeah, it's all good, man. So, Jatana, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Jatana wants to know, when will we see a heavyweight title on Brett West?
And wherever I'm at, it, you know, to me,
Right. But
I'm just always trying to have the best match that I can possibly have. So
there you go. Commissioner Bruce said Brew is having to feed Charlie. Oh my goodness.
Not happy.
So so who was your favorite wrestler as you were growing up? Who was that one, either tag team or male or female, that every time you knew they were coming on, you had to be right in front of your TV set to watch them?
Oh, it was always Malenko. I mean,
Dean Malenko?
When I was younger, but the more I got to be like a fan of the talent that they have, especially having to watch WCW growing up. So it was like you could see head and shoulders. He was in ring, maybe not character wise, but in ring, like head and shoulders better than everybody else that was there.
What'd you think of the New World Order?
Yeah, I liked that for like the first year, but
then they got stupid with it, right? When it branched out with all these different kinds of NWO factions, right?
Like once you get the entire roster in the NWO, it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of funny on their live shows, man. They'd cue the music, and they'd have to literally reboot the music 2 or 3 times because it took 15 minutes for the whole NWO, roster to get to the ring, and it filled the ring at one point. I mean, I'm no booker, I'm no genius, but if they would have kept it down to 5-6 people, NWO would still exist today, I believe.
Yeah, I really like the core group that they had, Hogan, Outsiders,
right.
the Giant, or Paul White, whatever you want to call him.
Right.
But, and then, maybe 6. But outside of that, you didn't need Buff Bagwell. You didn't need Scott Norton and everybody else in there.
And they had you could name half the roster, like you said, and at one point they were in the NWO, man. It was to the point where it was Sting versus everybody, and they were all NWO. That's basically the way they had set it up.
Yeah.
And then Sting went to the rafters, and that was actually a really cool gimmick. I love that gimmick. That was one of the best gimmicks in all of wrestling in my mind. Because you never knew when he was actually going to hit the ring. You never knew when he was going to, use the baseball bat. When the lights went out, the crowd always thought it was Sting. That was a pretty good gimmick.
I liked it, but I didn't like his return match because him and Hogan, man, you go back and look at it, it's not that good of a match. He blew up pretty fast from not wrestling for a whole year. So,
right? No doubt.
The gimmick was great, but.
Oh yeah. Anything Sting touched, he made great. I mean, he was one of them wrestlers with the it factor that you could just, one of the guys back there could say, Sting, this is what we want to do, and they didn't have to give him much, they didn't have to give him the big script like a lot of these wrestlers. He knew what to do.
Yeah.
And he didn't even have to use words, and that's what was great about it. He didn't even speak 95% of the time. When he did his crow gimmick, that's what I like to call it, the crow gimmick. But it was good. The intro too with the crows and all that, I loved it, man. It was awesome. But let's get back to you, man. Where are you going to be in the near future, man? Tell us where Brett West is going to be wrestling.
I got AWC this weekend, and then on the 31st, I have ACCW Punch Out, and got a couple other dates for them. I don't have them put down on my calendar yet, but so at the moment it's just that. I was at GCW in Gastonia, but hadn't been back since I think June.
Let's go ahead and show the audience the show you're talking about. Here it is. It's Honor Among Us, August 10th at the National Guard Armory in Morganton. There's Brett, the lower left-hand corner there on the poster. He's definitely going to be there, and this is the man who's going to be across the ring from him. He's going to be going up against 5-star districts Max Carnage. Now, Brett, we all saw the video that Max put out. Max is basically looking over you. He's just, he basically said in the video he's sorry that AWC put you in this match, but you're going to go down quickly. He's going to make a point, and AWC should have. It was something about a tournament. I didn't exactly understand it, but I guess they overlooked him somehow, and I guess he's going to use you as a point. What do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, let's just put it this way. I haven't wrestled there, so in that regard, I think he's been to one or two of their shows, so he does at least have that on me. But I mean, you look at him; he's built like a 14-year-old girl. So, I mean, I'm not that worried.
Okay.
So
I've never had a wrestler say another wrestler's built like a 14-year-old girl, but okay, I like it.
I mean, she might be on the basketball team, seeing as he's like 6'3", 6'2", but he still looked like a solid 120 soaking wet. So anything he hits me with, I'm sure it's just going to bounce off. Probably not even going to feel it. Be like, oh, was that a fly or something? No. So I'm not too worried.
Oh, wow. That is I gotta go. Oh, I gotta stop laughing. I'm gonna bust a gut. Rumor has it that Brett's former partner and the man that got him into the business is making his return. Uh-oh.
I mean, I can't speak for him, but I mean, I do talk to him often. He finally shed a little bit on his, business life, at least. Me and him, we worked at the prison. He stayed there, so he ended up getting on a night schedule where he really wasn't able to wrestle for about probably since November last year, I think.
Okay.
So once it got to where he was steady not coming, I was like, well, I think it's best if I go off on my own. And so, I mean, we just ended things mutually, and we're still cool.
Well, it's better to do that than do the Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty thing. That never ends well.
I mean, I love the guy, but if I had to put him through a window to get over, I would do it,
Wouldn't anybody in the wrestling business today, brother? I mean, we are in a business of cutthroat, man. I mean, I'm not even joking about that. I mean, there's some people that would actually sell their mother just to get a belt in this business, man. So
not to get too dark. I mean, I love my mom, but if I have to sell her ashes to get a little over too, I'll do that too.
That don't surprise me, man. I always go back to one of the first interviews I did on #Truth, man. A guy threw his wife under the bus. So I mean, it didn't take long, man. It didn't take long. The Messenger of Mayhem, how are you doing, sir? Peaches, how are you doing? You seem to have a little Fozzie Bear. I told you you'd make an appearance. How you doing, Fozzie?
Hi.
All right, we'll see you later. You seem to have a little following on here. You have people even putting your name on their Facebook page. How do you feel about that, man? Did you ever think that when you started your wrestling career that people would actually fall in love with you enough to put your name on their Facebook page?
I didn't really know, where it would go because, like I said, starting out, Mask Meanie, just some jabron under a mask, and then, slowly start building up. And so, I mean, I respect it. So, I mean, even though I'm a quote unquote heel at the moment, still it's kind of like still appreciative of it.
Right, man. This business can be harsh on up and comers, man. I'm noticing that, and some guys can take the spotlight, some guys can't. You get in the ring and you want to do your best, but sometimes you make mistakes. Have you ever got in a match where it just wasn't your night? You got in there and everything you tried just seemed to fail, and you went to the back with your head down like, man, I can't believe that this happened to me. Have you ever had a night like that?
For sure. The way I've always kind of looked at what I've done so far is like, I keep trying to go up this ladder, and I remember, I had like a real good series of matches going against the guy that I tagged with, Mondo, and we were in a feud that led up to our tag team forming, and what was supposed to happen was I was supposed to win the 2 out of 3, but I think I had like a minor concussion in the match because there's a bunch of shit just going wrong in that match.
Right.
Trayton, he was reffing the match, and he went back. He was like, "Oh my God, I messed up so bad." And I was like, "Dude, I didn't even really know where I was to kick out." So, he's like, "Oh my God, I fucked everything up." And I'm like, "Dude, you're perfectly fine. If I was supposed to kick out, that's my fault, not yours. You're doing your job. 1, 2, 3. So we ended up having to do like a little bit of a swerve to get to where we wanted to with that storyline. And
I bet the booker loved that, didn't he? I bet the booker just looked at you and went, "Are you serious?"
Yeah. So
come on, man. You had one job. All
I had to do was win twice. Couldn't do it.
Oh my goodness, man. Brett Butler said, Max versus Brett. I love both, but my money is probably on Brett. Stephen Fry wants to know, where'd you get all that charisma from?
I want to know what charisma he's talking about.
Not only does he like Dean Malenko, but he does an interview like Dean Malenko. Very serious, very to the point. I like it, though. It's refreshing. Big Country says, I'm a Brett West guy. Uh-oh, watch out.
Country. Love Big Country. He's a great guy.
Michael Butler, my money is on Max. Sorry, Brett. Oh, no.
I mean, maybe she knows something that I don't know. Like I said, I mean, he's definitely built like a high school girl.
Maybe he'll bring his big boy pants that night.
He might bring something else. He might
maybe his 5-star buddies are going to come in and jump you.
I hope it's not Felix, because 2 of those make one of me. So he might need to.
Oh, bro!
he might need to bring
Aaron. And who did I start my show off with? None other than Felix. I bet you was thinking that as he was saying, "Come to watch #Truth," right?
No, I've met Felix a couple times. He's a great kid.
I love him to death, man. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be there with him at AWC. So, Jack Morgan, hey, Scoot and Brett. Well, I've never been called Scoot before, but thanks a lot, Jack Morgan. And by the way, Jack Morgan will be coming on Friday and giving away some free tickets to that AWC show we're talking about. So stay tuned for that one. He'll be on at 6 o'clock Friday night. I like them too, Peaches. I guess we'll see Saturday. That's what makes a great match, Michael Butler. Would you say that, Brett? That makes a great match when you have a lot of people rooting for both sides. I mean, I know you want everybody to love you, but when the audience is 50-50 and they're chanting and you're in there with Max Carnage and you guys lock horns, man, doesn't that make for an exciting match?
It does. It just matters if we both bring that same energy for everybody to, get behind it. Me personally, I mean, like I said, I'm a heel, so I really don't care if they like me or not. They can boo me. If they cheer for me, they cheer for me, but I really don't prefer it. But, I can't control the fans. So
now I see on your promo pic, you come out with sunglasses on. You come out with the leather jacket. I'm going to ask again, who is Brett West as a character? I mean, are you a bad guy Fonzie, for the lack of a better way?
No. Right now, I'm still trying to, I'm piecing it all together. But the inspiration came about from, just kind of give you a little backstory on it. I did a promo at ACCW, I think in December, and I repented to the fans, told them, I was sorry for being in Law and Order and yada yada yada, and it's it was hard to get them behind me for a little while because they hated me for 2 years.
Right.
So eventually, they started getting behind me, and then I was like, man, the best thing to do right now would just be like swerve them and turn on them. And then I was talking to a buddy of mine, Darren, and he was like, man, you should just Chris Jericho it out there. Go and, like when he came back in 2008 and he came back and he was placating to the fans, and, they were kind of buying it and then they kind of weren't. And then he came back and he was serious. Chris Jericho, using big words and everything. So I was like, the jacket that actually came from Drew Hood, not the jacket that I wear, but once I started doing it, I was like, man, I need to kind of have like a look for when I come out. And I didn't have anything at the time. And Drew was like, dude, just wear my jacket going out to this match. Wore it. He was like, it looks good. Keep it going.
Yeah, it did. I mean, when I'm not gonna lie to you. When I first saw that picture, I was like, "Uh-oh, we got an evil Fonzie on our hands. This is gonna be good." Because you do look the heel part in that picture. I mean, you got the swagger, like, hey, I'm the bee's knees, and nobody can touch me. And yeah, I'm gonna get to Max in a second. Max has chimed in, but we're gonna get to everybody first.
No problem.
Brett is a butthole, but he's one of the most knowledgeable to learn from. If anyone has a chance to talk to him, they should soak it up. That comes from Steven, the Fry Guy.
Steve's a good dude.
Yes, he is. Jack Morgan's making sure he knows how to spell my name. Scott, are you going to the AWC show in Morganton for the 9,000th time? I will be in Morganton, North Carolina on August the 10th. I have had my run-in with Mr. Brett. So you fought the Bassmaster. Tell me about that match.
He was a little bit newer at the time, so I wrestled him. And this wasn't just him, I mean, I'm still kind of new to it too, but still being more or less the veteran out of that match. We missed a couple spots, but we still got it back together. I mean, it could have been a lot better, and that really falls on me for not getting it to where it needed to in the match. But for the most part,
so if you had to put a star number on it, 1 to 5, what would you say that match ended up?
I'd say it's probably like a 2.5, and that's not a knock on Jack. That's, like I said, he was green. And I was,
you can't. I mean, two people that aren't big time veterans, you're not going to expect a 5-star match out of. So I'm glad you were serious and honest about it, because a lot of people would have said, "Oh man, 4.5 stars easy." You know what I'm saying? But
I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. I mean, I've probably in my
#truth
my 4 years doing it, I've probably have like 4, maybe 5 matches that I'm like, I could probably go and take that match with the same guy just about anywhere, and people will dig it. Where some of the other stuff, like the Jack match.
So what is one of those wrestlers? Name one of those matches. Name one of those matches that you had such a good match with that, you said basically you could take it anywhere and people are going to cheer for it. Name the first one that comes to your mind.
I mean, it's the most recent one. It's no knock on some of the other guys, but anytime that I step in the ring with Jonathan Baker, is what I call him. He goes by Johnny Ryder.
Okay, Johnny Ryder.
So that ACCW show you went to, I personally feel, and this is just me, that we had the best match. We didn't have a table spot in that match. people pop for a table spot, but we brought something different to our match. And I think, seeing two dudes just legit try to beat the hell out of each other and not doing all these flips and not doing all these real intricate spots, I think it brings something a little bit different to it. And, we got a hot feud going on, so it's one of those things where it's like, if you take that match and you go anywhere with it and you see
that guys, isn't that always the way it is in wrestling? If you have two guys, especially a good guy and a bad guy, and they're in a feud and they mesh well together in the ring, man, sky's the limit for that feud, man. I mean, it could go on for 2-3 years and people will still love it. I know some indies wrestlers right now that have feuds from when they first started wrestling. I'll name one that I think is awesome and it's still going on today. It's been over a year, and that is Jake Jacobs and the Kodiak PJ Ellis. Have you ever seen them two feuding? Oh, my goodness. When they get in the ring, it is on. Is that the way it is with you and Ryder?
I've seen them wrestle separately. I've never seen them wrestle together, so I can't speak on what you have. But anytime that me and him step in there, you see hard-hitting action where it looks and it feels like we're beating the hell out of each other, because if we're hitting each other and it's just, like a little white tap,
the fans are watching and their belief is suspended. That's what I love. My famous saying, give us something to invest in, and that's that. I can't wait to see you at AWC, man. I'm looking forward to it. I saw you at ACCW. I'm looking forward to this, man, and it's going to be awesome to watch.
I appreciate it.
We've made it. TikTok, much love, Brett, but isn't it about it? But this isn't about you come August 10th. It's about fixing AWC management piece by piece. So Max Carnage is on he's got blinders on, and he's, like I said, he's looking right past you, man. It's gotta be rough to have a wrestler looking right past you like you're nothing.
Like I said, it doesn't bother me because, if I hit him hard enough, he's going to believe that I'm in that ring with him. So he can look past me, but it'll be like a Ohio State and Troy, or a Michigan versus Appalachian State. Even though I'm bigger than him, he's going to be like, oh, I guess I should have paid a lot more attention in this match and not worrying about some Booker man.
Do you think Max is doing his homework on you, or do you think that AWC management is more on his mind?
I mean, I can't speak on him outside of, I'm not in his mind. So, I mean, he can look past me. He can actually stare directly at me. Still not going to change the outcome of me beating the hell out of him. So,
Michael Butler said, yes, it was December 2018.
I think that's what he's talking about, the promo that I did where I went babyface.
Peaches says, love you, Max. Wow. Stephen Fry wants to know, Diamond Cutter or RKO?
I mean, that's tough because, it's really kind of the same move, but they deliver it in two different ways. But
either one of them can come out of nowhere.
You would think me being the WCW guy that I was, I wouldn't really care for the RKO, but Randy just jumps, levels out so well, it makes it look real pretty. And you can't really beat him hitting Evan Bourne out of the Shooting Stars, so I'll have to go with the RKO.
Man, I mean, I if this was my question, I couldn't pick. I would be honest, because to me, like you said, both moves are pretty much the same, and it would come down to picking the wrestlers, and I'm not going to pick between DDP and Randy Orton. That's just too hard, man.
But let's just go with the inventor of the move, John Laurinaitis. He wins with the Ace Crusher all the time.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree 100% with that. There you go. So there's your answer. I think you guys have hit on something with the Dean Malenko thing. Side note, Malenko is one of my favorites. Yeah, he was a good guy. I mean, he didn't get a lot of fan support because he wasn't flashy, like you said. His charisma, he has tons of charisma. If you ever spoke to the man, or you've watched him in outside of wrestling, or if they did a shoot interview with him, the man has got skills on the mic. But he chose to be the serious, come to the ring, beat your butt, leave the ring, and that's the kind of guy he was when the cameras turned on. And I loved it. A lot of people didn't, but I was like you, man. I loved watching the wrestling skills in him. The man of 1,000 holds, he had more than 1,000, believe it or not. He could twist you up in a knot in there.
He just didn't have more than Chris Jericho. So 1,004 holds. So.
There you go. That's it. The famous promo. I love it. Johnny Ryder.
What can be said about Jonathan Baker? I mean, beat the hell out of him all the time.
Jack Morgan said, "Oh yeah, was at the beginning of the Bassmaster's journey. Learned a lot from that match." But here's the question, Jack: did you teach Brett West how to fish?
I already knew how to fish before that. He didn't. I mean, he might be a Bassmaster, but I'm one of those dudes. I'll go out there deep sea fishing. I'll catch a shark. That's a hell of a lot better catch than a bass. I'm just saying.
Oh wow!
Not really. I've never went deep sea fishing.
The shark thing is what threw me. You had me until shark. I was like, oh wow, really? Okay.
Might have been better if I said I caught a tuna off of South Africa.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. I would have still believed you because I don't know anything about deep sea fishing.
Nah, biggest thing I've ever caught was a catfish. So.
Please never put that face back in a mask. Boy, you really do have a fan, don't you?
I guess so.
Malenko versus Eddie, ECW, like Dynamite versus Tiger Mask. Man, Malenko and Eddie, oh my goodness, the words can't describe the two. They had two different styles, but when they got in the ring, they were great together. What would you say about that?
It's funny because even though Malenko is my favorite, I never liked watching him wrestle Eddie except for that ECW match. I think Eddie, to me, my all-time favorite match, by the way, is him and Rey Mysterio at Halloween Havoc. That to me is like all-time favorite. Dean Malenko and Chris Jericho was what I really, if I was going to say, oh, hey, watch a Dean Malenko match, watch him and Chris Jericho back when they were feuding with the whole 1,004 holds thing going on. But
yeah, that was a classic, man. See, that's what's missing in wrestling today, in my opinion, man. I've ranted and even in WWE right now, AEW's just starting up. Man, I want to have feuds like that today.
Yeah,
you don't really have that now. You have 2 weeks and there's a pay-per-view, feud over. 2 weeks, pay-per-view, feud over. Very rarely do you have something that continues on. And that's what I cry all the time when I get on here by myself and I throw my rants out there, man. And this was a case of one of those, man. Malenko and Eddie, Malenko and Jericho, them guys knew how to feud. Them guys knew how to end a match with a cliffhanger. They knew the psychology of the whole thing, and they knew how to do that next promo to get everybody right back involved in it whenever they decided to get back to it, man.
Yeah.
And that's missing in today's wrestling badly.
Sure. I think it really, kind of the brand split kind of killed it off because then it's like, hey, we're going to try to do all this stuff.
And there's 900 titles in WWE right now. I mean, that 24/7 title, I just want to throw something at the TV every time they put that thing on TV, man.
I'll say this: R-Truth is
genius.
More entertaining right now.
Oh yeah, he's genius. But why can't they do that with a real belt? I would enjoy that more if he had the United States belt. Not mocking the United States belt whatsoever, but if he had the United States belt and R-Truth could just go up there and instead of doing the John Cena, I'm going to defend this against anybody who comes out of the locker room every week. Just have R-Truth come to the ring and go, okay, I'm making the United States Open a 24/7 thing. Let's go.
Well, it's kind of not like it, used to be, because the real worker title in WCW, I'm just talking about the United States title from what you're talking about, but
right.
it was the TV title. So whoever really their best worker was, if you go back and you look at it,
right.
It was the guy holding the TV title. And the same thing with WWF, WWE, up until a certain point, it was the IC title. And then you got this overload of talent, you got this overload of titles, and it's like you can't really display it all that often because
right.
they're trying to give you all this filler crap that people don't really want. I don't need to see a backstage promo where Roman Reigns is getting a stupid thing pushed over on him. That's, to me, it's pointless. Just give me someone who.
How many times have they ran that same thing? Didn't they drop something on another wrestler like that? Didn't they have Braun Strowman push one over on somebody just like last year?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, how many times are we going to see the same thing regurgitated? I mean, it gets old. It really does.
Unfortunately, it's like CM Punk said, until Vince goes down, it's probably going to be that way for a while.
Max says, in all fairness, I like watching Brett's matches. I watch him at every time at ACCW. He's a great competitor, has a lot of fire. I'm looking forward to the match with him. May the best man win.
See, that's more common sense starting to come into play. It's not this, I'm overlooking him now. It's like, okay, I see what Brett West is all about. He knows that I'll probably beat the hell out of him, and he knows I'll probably get the 1, 2, 3. So now he's just trying to placate my kind side, which I have a very slim amount of kindness.
So is that kind side gonna come out when he spews the green mist in your face?
If he sprays some green mist in my face, we're gonna have a shoot. No, I'm kidding.
Heck with this. It's on, brother.
you just got my gear green and this matte green. We're gonna have to have an actual fight. No, I'm kidding. But
we're going Nickelodeon on this thing, man. Come here.
Yeah. So if he does it, he does it. All I can do is knee him in the mouth and have it, him swallow that. It is what it is.
Jack Morgan says, I've caught a shark before, Lyle. We're not talking about ex-girlfriends, Jack Morgan. Michael, I'm gonna get it for that one. I'm betting Max is gonna take a knee to the face.
Well, we'll see. The finish when I came back was essentially the V trigger, but now I got something new. Still a knee to the face, but not the same way. So we'll have to see.
So you actually took a finishing move from the man behind you on the poster.
I did,
and you have reinvented it to be your own.
I kind of have, yeah. I don't think I've seen anybody else do this. So
nice, very, very nice. That was going to be my question in a few minutes. What is your finisher? But hey,
well, we're kind of here. It doesn't really matter to me whether I say it or not. I've hit it before, and people have seen it. So essentially,
Max wants to know, how many fingers do you have again? Asking for a friend.
I got 10, bro.
Don't know where he's going with that, but we'll know soon enough. Ref Daryl Hatley, I'm going to have him on Sunday night. How y'all doing, man? How you doing, Daryl? Sorry, Max. Love you too, bro. Why is it? Now listen to this. Why is it, and Michael Butler's a perfect case of this right here, why is it that when they're talking to you on #truth, it's all, man, I think Brett West is going to win. I think Brett West is going to win. And then Max comes on, and it's like, oh, brother, I love you too.
It's probably the promoter in him. He's like, I've watched Brett a lot longer, but I still like Max. So I don't know.
Daryl wants to know, what's a dream match you'd like to see?
Man, that's actually a tough one.
Of course, both wrestlers would have to be alive today if you're going to see it.
Man, that is really tough. I'd probably have to say AJ and Shawn, but it would have to be a prime Shawn. just because I mean the dude's like 50-some years old now. I mean,
Right.
he could still probably go, but
Hey, he can still throw that super kick. Or sweet chin music. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Sweet chin music.
he's not a young buck, man. He can't just.
I'm great. Yeah, it was kind of. I was hoping that on SmackDown Tuesday, when they were doing all that, it would have been him
Yeah,
against Dolph Ziggler, but they threw a swerve on me. I was hoping it would have been Shawn. That would have been a great match to me. I'm not really interested in Goldberg coming out there. I'm really not after the fiasco last time.
oh no, that was horrible. I could barely watch that.
It was breaking my heart to watch those two in the ring, man. It really was, because at one time, you know, you'd be lying if you didn't say back when those two were in their primes that they weren't in your at least top 5 wrestlers. I mean, they were the bomb.
I was never a big Goldberg fan, so he was probably in my like bottom 20.
Who's next? I always liked that. That was just something cool for me. Look forward to being on the show Sunday. I look forward to having you, Daryl. I really do. Scott, there's no chance in my last ex was over 11 years ago. I hooked the best bass and not giving it up. It was a joke, Jack. It was a joke, brother.
He thought you shot on him, man. He's gonna be coming for you now, Scott.
Yeah, it was Wesley. Wesley trying to get me upset in that damn phone. Well, I don't know what that means. Okay. What is both of y'all's take on The Undertaker signing a lifetime deal with WWE? There isn't much left in The Undertaker. I'm going to answer first. There isn't much left in The Undertaker's tank. So signing a lifetime deal is probably at best the next year, maybe 2, if that. And you got to remember, if The Undertaker is going to do these matches, they have to be able to make The Undertaker look good. The wrestler he's facing has to make The Undertaker look good too, because The Undertaker can't do everything. And that was proven when he fought Goldberg, that, you know, he's always been the best wrestler in the world, but he is getting up there in age, and he's got to have somebody who can sell for him when he does his stuff and sell well. Would you agree with that, Brett?
I mean, kind of. I mean, to me, his last good match was with CM Punk. I mean, you take a million F5s and whatnot from Brock Lesnar, it's really hard to say you look good.
Right.
Roman Reigns, I think he does get a bad rap. He can work, but when you're forced down people's throats, nobody really wants you to win, and he carried Undertaker as good as he could in that match.
I always say over and over again, man, I think Cole pees his pants when he comes out and he yells, "There's the big dog!" I think he gets so excited he pees his pants every time.
But as far as the lifetime contract goes, I mean, he's probably done more for WWE than probably just about any other superstar they've ever had.
I mean, if anybody deserves it, yeah, it's him, no doubt.
Whether he wrestles or not is another point, but I mean, it's just more or less, you know, he's done so much for him, at least give him something back. Is it a true lifetime contract? I don't have the contract in front of me, so I don't know.
Right.
But,
Right.
I mean, if it's one of those things where it's just, up until you really quit, then we're not paying you anymore. But if it's
it could be if you don't want to wrestle, you've always got a job behind the scenes, doing this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
I could see him in that role big time, because who would not want to learn from The Undertaker? I mean, the guy's been in wow, I couldn't tell you the number of big-time matches. We were talking about Shawn Michaels. One of my favorite matches of all time was at WrestleMania, him and Shawn Michaels going at it. I really thought Shawn Michaels was going to break the streak that night, and that was probably one of the best matches WWE ever had, in my opinion.
Him and Shawn too, I think, was probably the better one out of their matches. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong watching him and Shawn towards the very end of Shawn's career.
Scott, you definitely picked the right guy to have on hashtag Truth. Brett definitely speaks his mind. I appreciate his candor. Yes, I do. I love it. Like I said, it's refreshing. At least, and I'm not down in anybody who's come on my show, but at least I know with Brett, if I ask him a question, it's not going to take him 30 seconds to 3 minutes to think of an answer, and I love that. I'm not going to lie to you. I love that.
Yeah, probably the hardest thing I had to think about was probably the dream match. So.
Right. What do you think about Shane McMahon being on TV a lot over the last several months? Question is for you both. I'll let you answer first.
Trash.
Thank you. Thank you.
To me,
and what made it even worse was they're having KO put his career on the line. It should be reversed. If you're going to do it that way, have it reversed, because KO is going to win that match. If KO doesn't win that match, there will be riots at WWE events.
Yeah.
Or they're going to do a swerve and bring KO back in a mask and do all kinds. You never know. With the two guys that are running the shows right now, you never know. That could happen too, man. I mean, they're both known for doing swerves like that. So, I don't know. But Shane McMahon on TV, that you've got so many great superstars sitting back there behind the scenes, not getting TV time, and you've got so many superstars looking to come up in NXT. None of the McMahons should be on TV except for an occasional, spot here and there to do a promo to I can see two wrestlers in the ring fighting over whether they're going to have a match or not, and see the big guy come out, and say, well, we're going to have this match because I'm Vince McMahon and I said so you're going to fight him, something like that. Then the crowd goes nuts. He goes away. Nothing else is done. You know what I'm saying?
I think you're right. I just think the issue is the most success that wrestling on TV has had is when you had huge authoritative figures, whether it be Eric Bischoff or Vince McMahon or Paul Heyman. So it's kind of like, oh, hey, we need this reoccurring theme but if you watch NXT, which I think, even though it's technically not on TV, you got to watch it on the network. I think
that's coming though. There is big time rumors saying that's coming. They might come to Fox.
That's what I keep hearing, but I think they got the best TV wrestling product right now. I don't think they're the best product. I like New Japan, even though Kenny and the Elite and all them are gone, because it's more my style that I like, because I like that strong style, beating the crap out of each other. But if you look at NXT, you don't have a huge authoritative figure, with the exception of William Regal coming out, making a match here and there, if it's some kind of big feud going on. And it's just more wrestlers doing promos, and I think that's how it should be right now. I don't think you need to have Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, Linda McMahon, even though she's not there, Stephanie McMahon, all them. You don't need to have them. It's just kind of like a waste of time and energy, but I think their roster's too big too, so I think they need to let some people go, let them go flourish somewhere else, because, wrestling.
See, that's the big thing, man. WWE, I could talk about this all night, Brett. I really could. WWE, the second they realized that AEW was for real, the second they realized there was a TV contract going to happen, there was this, WWE started putting contracts to anybody that could breathe and move that they had on their roster. They extended people. They went out and got people that they thought AEW was gonna snatch up, because for the longest time they've been the only fish in the bowl. So they didn't have to worry about this. Now they've got competition, and I'm not marking over AEW and who the wrestlers are that are there. I'm marking over it's making wrestling fun again. It's going to be a war again, and it's coming. It might not be the WCW war, but there are – and AEW, what I like about what AEW is doing, they're looking at WWE and going, hey, sign all them big guy talent. Sign all that talent to all that big-time money. We're going to go down here in the indies promotions, and we're going to get these guys that are big-time in the indies that are putting, 100 butts in seats, and we're going to bring them 100, 200 people to TV and see if we can't get 10, 20, 30, 40,000 people to like them. And that's what I like about AEW. You never know when they're going to show up in your town. They've showed up at, small venues, small independent venues, and jerked up some wrestlers out of there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just right now WWE is just so overcrowded. So I think the best product they have is NXT, and it's where you get to see Triple H's hands in it, and they still got a lot of talent on NXT. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, Gargano, Ciampa, Adam Cole, all those guys, you can see them do their true style. But if they go up to the main card, they're going to be toned down, and it's not going to be quite what they were.
We could probably sit here, Brett, between me and you, and make a list of at least 12 wrestlers off the top of our head that went from NXT, good as gold, went to the roster, and now when you hear their name, it's like, who?
I mean, Sami Zayn's the first one that comes to my mind. I mean, even his El Generico stuff, if you go back watching him and Kevin Owens when he was Kevin Steen on the Indies, you go back and you watch that feud. I mean, him as El Generico, it's awesome. And just like they brought kill dudes, period, from that move.
No doubt. I mean, they brought so much talent up there. And my gosh, I've got so many names going through my head that I want to talk about that I can't spit one single name out. But Mr. Wrestling himself, Gargano, went up there for a little cup of tea. Vince McMahon looked at him and said, "He's too small. I don't want him," and sent him right back to NXT. Yeah. We'll take him back in NXT. Hunter Hearst Helmsley probably had a party that night because he is a great wrestler. He psychology through the roof. Him and Gargano, him and Ciampa, the 3 matches they had at the takeovers. Oh my God, I still go back and watch those. The one where he pulled back the ring and actually slammed him on the wood part underneath the ring. Genius. I loved it. And I can't wait till Triple H takes the horns, man. I really can't. Because I think WWE is going to have a totally different look.
You would think with it being a publicly traded company that they would see how well the product is liked and respected for NXT. And even 205 Live has come up a lot since Triple H took over that. So you would think that the other people behind the scenes in terms of the stocks and whatnot, they'd be like, oh, hey, this person really needs to be in control. Maybe not the CEO, but at least head over creative or something. But still, one man still got too big of a hand in that pot, and it's really killing their product right now.
Right. And McMahon's always been a guy who you got to have a certain look to be a champion on his roster. You got to be the big, beefy giant with the muscles for days. And I'm surprised. I'm totally surprised that some of these champs that have come through there, he don't even like Ricochet. And that I was like, are you kidding me? How can you not like Ricochet? I mean, that's crazy to me.
A couple of, I would say, wrestling brothers, we all disagree on him. Some of them hate him because some of his stuff is so choreographed, it doesn't look real. But then you look at kind of how the business has gone, and wrestling is like such a niche, art in terms of like you can like this guy, and all he does is flips and stuff like that, which is kind of like Ricochet and Will Ospreay. And yeah, that stuff kind of has to look really choreographed because there's so much skill that goes into what they're doing. And then you can just be like me, who's just a pure fan of wrestling, and I just like talent, period. And then you got some people that, they want to see great characters. They don't really care about the wrestling. So I think that's the cool thing I think about wrestling is there's just so many things you can pick and be a fan of. You don't have to just be like, oh, I mean,
that's why I love wrestling so much. It's not, and that's the kind of, I'll tell you the kind of fan I am, and everybody should know it by now. You can have 3 moves and charisma through the roof, and I love you. You could have no charisma like Dean Malenko, wrestle for days, and I'm still going to love you. As long as you give me something to invest in, as long as you give me a storyline to invest in, go out there and give it your all, I will like you as a wrestler. But if you go out there and botchamania the place up, and when you go on the mic and you go to do a promo and you can tell that you're trying to remember your lines, then I'm going to be like, get this guy off my screen. I don't care how many years he's been in the business.
Yeah, I think
that's just me.
I think one of the best right now in terms of having he doesn't have a limited number of moves, but I think one of the best right now in terms of what he does it very well, and he's got a lot of charisma, is Stuart Snodgrass. I mean, I love the guy.
For days, man.
I mean, the moment you hear his music, everybody's going through the roof. And if you ever watch his matches, I mean,
he came to EWF. I bought his glasses. I've got his glasses sitting right over here. He signed it with his S right in the middle of it where it's taped. And we had a great time. He's going to be on Hashtag Truth right now. He's nursing an injury, I believe. Last I heard, he was nursing an injury. So, I'm going to try to get a hold of him after he gets back, into the wrestling, actual wrestling again. But the man is genius. The stories he tells the story every time he goes in the ring, and I don't care who's on the other side of the ring. I mean, he plays his character to the fullest, and I love that. He always, all his promos are gold. If you go back and watch his I laugh hysterically every time I watch this guy, and he's awesome.
But yeah, so he's probably the one that I think right now is, whole lot of his matches. I mean, they're not some elaborate over the top spot. It's what people like to see. I mean, you see charisma, you see some moves here and there. And that's it.
Right, without a doubt. Well, brother, it has been an hour. I am going to call it a night. You, sir, do remind me a lot of Dean Malenko, and that is a huge compliment. You do your interview like Dean Malenko. You kind of got moves like Dean Malenko. I ain't gonna lie. I watched you at ACCW. You looked really good. I hope somebody sticks you in a really great storyline with somebody, and I would like to see pissed off Brett West knock some heads off, man. I really would.
Well, thank you. I mean, again, yeah, you only came to that last one, but if you got to see the whole, I mean, we're still not done with it, but you got to see me and Johnny go at it a little bit longer, you would see kind of what I'm talking about in terms of the progression that we're in right now. So,
no doubt about it, man. Well, you are always welcome to come back on Hashtag Truth. I would love to have you sometime after Honor Among Us, maybe talk about your match.
For sure.
And before we go, let me go ahead and throw up your spots again so everybody can see. You'll be at Honor Among Us on the 10th, this Saturday night at the Morganton National Guard Armory, and you will be going up against this man right here, Max Carnage of 5 Star District. Yeah, that's going to be a great match. I can't wait to be there. This will be my first time at AWC up there with Zach Zulo and the boys. It's going to be a great night, and tell everybody about it. Put it in your own words, man.
Again, I mean, Max, I've only ever seen him wrestle a couple times. I do watch him. But what you're going to get out of this, at least for me, is you're going to see a lot of strikes. It's going to be hard hitting, and you're going to see some technical stuff. So yeah, that's what you're going to get from me.
Uh-oh. And if we're lucky, we're going to see you get hit with some mist.
I sure hope not, but if it happens, it happens.
All right, brother. Like I said, you're always welcome back on Hashtag Truth. We're going to call it a night, man. I've got interviews all week until Saturday when I do go to Honor Among Us. Come out to Honor Among Us on the 10th. Say hi to me. Let me know you're watching Hashtag Truth. Come out and see Brett and all the boys wrestle and have a great time. It's at the Morganton National Guard Armory right there in Morganton, North Carolina. And we will see you guys out there. Have a good night, Brett.
All right. Thank you. You too, man.